Welcome back to the 1111 Synchronized Podcast live broadcast. I want to wish all the maternal beings a happy Mother's Day, whether you're a single parent, a newborn parent, an expecting parent, anything like that, a grandparent. I want to wish all the maternal beings a happy Mother's Day. That means male and female. If you are someone who mothers, thank you for your nurturing side, and thank you for all that you've done, all the sacrifices you've made, known and unknown to us. Thank you all for this Mother's Day. Now, if you have any topic requests that you'd like to hear covered, or if you have any features that you want, if you want to be featured on the page, or anyone else that you'd like to be featured on here, please send those to my direct inbox on Instagram at Agent K21 Podcast, on Instagram and Twitter at Agent K21. So everyone take a deep breath in and let it out. It's a lot of intensity going on, a lot of intense feelings, emotions, planets, just everything is all happening. And I want to really honor the mothers, but for those who have a traumatic or an unhealthy or wounded mother relationship, or have come from toxic mothers, this day is also for you to honor your experience and to validate your reality, and to know that everyone else might be posting pictures of their mom, and maybe yours has passed, or maybe you don't have a connection with yours, and it can spiral a lot of feelings of loneliness. I just want to let you know that you're not alone. We're all in this together, and don't really get caught up in the hype of external stuff and people's controlled posts on social media. People love to portray an image externally, but no one really knows besides us what's going on internally. So stay true, stay authentic to yourself, and know that it's okay wherever you are, wherever this is meeting and greeting you. And to more importantly, be reminded of the main mother, Mother Earth, Gaia, who nurtures us, who protects us, who provides for us constantly. So if you have no other mother, honor the mother that we are all given, which is Mother Earth, by giving back to her. What gift can you give to her? Being your true self is a gift in itself. Breathing in, taking a deep breath, breathe in that good ass prana, right? That's a gift in itself. Not polluting the earth, not littering, those things. Being kind to yourself and kind to the earth and kind to others and animals and all life forces. So, there's been such intense energy, and we're about to go into a major retrograde season coming up, and a lot of stuff is going to be stirred and fill up to the surface. And no matter what happens, just hold on and keep looking up. That's all I can really say. Just keep looking up, no matter what happens. All of this stuff is here to be released. All of this stuff is happening for the awareness, for the awakening, for the shift, right? We cannot do something differently by doing the same things. So this is a great time to cultivate new ways of being. So one thing that's not really talked about is toxic mothers. Toxic mothers is not really a thing. We all assume everyone has a happy life. We all assume, mothers are there and they support their children. Some think they are. Some think they are loving unconditionally, and they don't realize that they've been conditioned and they're passing those conditions on. Some have completely abandoned their children or neglected their children, either emotionally or physically. And it's not something that's really talked about, right? We talk about the absent fathers. We talk about the abusive dads. But what about the abusive mothers? Now, this is not even to shine like a torch for them. This is more just to say, how does the mother wounds operate? So I'm going to read a couple posts that I did post on my Instagram. The mother wounds can operate in these ways: weak boundaries, guilt, codependency, and self-worth issues. So when it comes to weak boundaries or poor boundaries, we have the inability to say no and to honor our space. This wound was developed from seeing our mother people please and always put herself last. We struggle to speak our truth and tend to be people pleasers. And if you find yourself falling into that category, again, be kind to yourself. This is not to beat yourself up or to beat your parent up. They did the best they could with what they had. is to say this is your chance to take some ownership and have some self-empowerment to say, I can change this narrative. I can see this, I can observe it, I can align with my awareness and choose differently. For those who have the wound of guilt, we find ourselves saying, I feel bad, or constantly saying, I'm sorry. If something good happens in your life, you feel a sense of guilt because you feel we don't deserve it. Now, when it comes to guilt and apologizing all the time is a trauma response. It's a condition that says, it has a double-edged sword, right? It has the ability to undercut us and feel like we're not worthy. Then it also has a shadow side of apologizing to get worth or for validation. If I apologize enough, I'll be seen as a good person, right? That's kind of one of the ego stories that can play out. Another wound is codependency. We often find ourselves in codependent relationships. We fear being alone, so we attach ourselves to people to fill the void. We wait for permission from others to do what our heart and intuition is calling us to do. So again, it's putting ourselves on the back burner. It's not trusting ourselves because we learned early on that we had to deny our reality, that we couldn't trust ourselves, that mother knows best. Those kind of things, we didn't have a say. So we silenced ourselves, we silenced our voice. And lastly, self-worth issues. We say things like, I just don't feel worthy, is the words of this wound. We constantly compare ourselves to others and feel jealous because of it. We struggle with the sense of knowing who we are beyond who you've been told to be. So again, this could manifest as giving, doing a lot of acts of service to try to build that external validation again, to try to feel a sense of being enough, And let me just tell you, everyone is enough just as they are. And oftentimes when we're operating out of these wounds, we are operating out of our inauthentic self because we're operating out of our personality. Our personality is merely an image from the ego. And the ego has all these stories, all these storylines that we've been given. And so we have to dismantle those and find out who are we really? What is our soul? What is our soul thirsting for, right? And so all of these things can be, boundary issues and betrayal, abandonment, neglect, all of those different things, not feeling worthy, self-sabotaging, conditional love, transactional love. I'm going to give you this sex, I'm going to give you a piece of ass, and maybe I'll get some love in return. All of these different things that as they go unchecked, they continue to attract, right? So this is a great time to honor your family, your maternal beings, whether male or female, in your life, and to also honor how you want to portray your life for the next generation, for those who are expecting children or planning to have children. What do you want to pass on to your children? And oftentimes we say, I'll never be nothing like my parents. And then guess what happens? We end up being just like them. Why? Because that's great to have a lofty thought, but if there's no action behind it, it becomes null and void. So this process of self-love is a genuine process that's hard as hell and takes so much bravery and consistency and all these different things. But that is how you break the cycle of not becoming like your parents, right? And so this is a really good time to honor where you are, who you are, what you've been through, and to not just get caught up in the hype. And I'm not saying that all mothers are bad. I'm just saying a lot of people are operating unaware, and it becomes normal. We don't realize how bad stuff is until we realize how bad it is, until we tell someone else and they're like, whoa, that's been your life? Like, whoa, no, you've been gaslit like your whole life. You've been manipulated your whole life. Like, that's not love. That's not nowhere near close to it. And really taking the time to honor that, because oftentimes we can have this image of, well, I haven't gone through anything major because I had a roof over my head, I had this, I had that. But the internal emotional neglect that has happened, right, is so much more damaging. And so emotional wounds are invisible. So that's why it's called shadow work. You can't see it. You got to shine a light on it to see it. The inner child work, all of this stuff will help you integrate these aspects into yourself. And so that's my take for the people who are not honoring the lack of positive role models for mothers. But again, that's not to say everyone has that. But for those who have, it can often be underswept with the positivity, right? With everyone else being so chip and chum that is like you become unnoticed, and that can make us feel even more invisible. Like I should just be so appreciative that I had, that I've been born and I have a mother. That's great. That's beautiful, but it doesn't neglect what your experience has been. And so it's to having that ability to hold space for both realities and really honoring that. And so I had a major download earlier today. Been having downloads basically since the full moon. It's been beautiful. And had this download where I was taken to this space taken to that high dimension where no talking is relevant. There are no words for it. There's just shaking and trembling that echoes into the atmosphere. And the only sounds uttered are inaudible. And it's all about what you feel. And what I felt was just so uplifting in an intense way. And I just was like, whoa. I got so many revelations that I'm still processing. But it was so pure. And it was so like, it was just a lot. Felt really connected to the mother God, the mother earth, just mother. Just being in that posture to receive that love. It was like, wow. And I was laying on my back initially. Then I was laying on my stomach. And when I laid on my stomach, I felt 2 heartbeats in my stomach. And I thought, whoa. I shouldn't say 2 heartbeats. It felt like 2 heartbeats, but what it felt more like was not mine. I could feel my own heart beating, and I could feel something else beating in my stomach. And I was like, whoa. And I just felt like, man, that desire is real of just families and children and all of that stuff. And it just was like, whoa, this is intense. Now, for a long time, I had really convinced myself that I didn't want kids. I didn't want a family. And it wasn't never true. I tried to convince myself that it was. And the more I tried to convince myself and the more I tried to neglect that, it was like it became louder. Not in that moment, but in previous moments, I would try to alter myself, for connection, to not experience abandonment. I would alter myself to say, yeah, I don't really want kids if I get to keep this connection. And it was denying a part of myself because it was a desire I could never really let go. Even as I thought, well, I don't want kids, but I still would want to adopt, or I want to be a foster parent. And now it's like, wow, that whole facade has broken down to the point where I'm like, I truly know what I want. And it's them. And it's like this feeling, just this wonderful feeling of like, wow, now when you get to claim yourself, it's not based on need. It's not based on what anyone else is doing or not doing. I know now for myself what I truly want. And it was just a beautiful moment. And feeling that heartbeat in my stomach, it was just like I was just taken back to so many other moments of connecting to other people, like my godson, for example. When my friend was pregnant, I would put my hand on her stomach, and everywhere I moved my hand, he would follow. And it's just always there's been this connection with kids in general. And I don't think of myself as a mother, definitely a parent, but not a mother. And so that has been dismantling in my mind of what that means. So even if you don't have a positive relationship with your mother, there are other women or maternal beings that you have a connection with, whether it's the earth, whether it's connecting to yourself to see how you want to be as that presenting image, or if it's other friends in your life, grandparents, aunts, it's their day too. So I want to just say thank you all for your love, for your sacrifice. Thank you all for listening and for being here, for joining me on this. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. And let me know what you want to hear. Stay tuned, because I'll be back with more downloads to share. All right, until next time, be well, stay safe, keep your head up, shine bright, and love always. Until next time.